On her first day as an intern teacher, Anna witnessed a horrifying scene. A student had a plastic bag pulled over his head and was then viciously kicked by the school bully, Chris. Instinctively, she tried to intervene, but another student quickly stopped her. The boy warned her not to mess with Chris. His family was powerful, his parents were high-profile figures, and no ordinary person could afford to cross him. Just as Chris was about to launch another attack, Anna calmly walked by, pretending to be on the phone. Seizing the perfect moment, she landed a swift elbow strike that broke up the assault. Enraged, Chris turned to find the troublemaker, while Anna stayed composed, helping the victim back to class. However, Jack, the student, was too terrified to move without Chris's permission. Seeing this, Anna pulled him away without hesitation and walked him off the scene. It didn't take long before Chris found out that this fearless new face was the substitute intern teacher, assigned to replace the last one he had bullied to death. From that moment on, Chris saw Anna as a threat. What no one knew was that Anna wasn't just an ordinary teacher. She was once Korea's youngest third dan Hapkido master, with a string of honors under her belt, and was even considered a contender for the Olympics. But to pay off her father's massive debts, she was forced to throw a match, and her promising future vanished. Disgraced and deep in debt, she abandoned her dream and turned to teaching, taking a position at this very high school. To pass her 3-month probation, Anna had to endure in silence. But even on day 1, the school director made inappropriate advances. Though she was disgusted, she chose to stay quiet. One day, she overheard a disturbing conversation between two teachers. One had committed suicide under pressure. After digging into news reports, Anna realized she had been hired as a backup, replacing that very teacher who had jumped to their death. Determined to keep her job, Anna decided to stay. A kind colleague warned her to be cautious and avoid getting involved in student conflicts. The colleague then took her to an empty classroom and, after confirming they were alone, showed her a shocking video. In the footage, several students were bullying an elderly woman running a food stall. Leading the abuse was none other than Chris. He flipped her sushi cart, stabbed cigarettes into the food, and forced the elderly woman to eat it. Her grandson, Jack, arrived to defend her, only to be beaten down and made to kneel and eat the dirty food himself. Jack didn't resist. He simply endured. Every lunchtime, Chris would lock Jack in a dark storage room and throw in rotten sushi. He forced him to play rock, paper, scissors, where Jack was only allowed to play scissors. Every loss earned him a slap in the face. These slaps were then broadcast through the school PA system, followed by Chris's maniacal laughter. Despite all this, no one, teachers or students, dared speak out. In fact, the school had been awarded Model Peaceful Campus 3 years in a row. Everyone knew Chris's family was untouchable. His father was a prosecutor, his mother a lawyer, and his relatives held top positions in the police department. Not just in school, but throughout Korea, Chris had power. Anna's colleague warned her again, never go up against Chris. If she wanted to be hired permanently, the smartest thing she could do was look the other way. The previous teacher had taken their own life precisely because they couldn't stand the violence. And so, to protect her future, Anna began turning a blind eye to the bullying. But her conscience grew heavier each day. One afternoon, Jack gave her a pleading look that she couldn't ignore. She brought him into her office and asked him what was really going on. Jack told her she was the only one who had ever helped him. He had asked other teachers for help, even gone to the police, but nothing worked. It only brought him more punishment from Chris. Anna's small act of courage had given him hope, and he begged her to keep helping him. But Anna, still an intern, knew she couldn't risk going head-to-head with Chris. She advised Jack to transfer schools to protect himself. Jack shook his head. He said the school director had already suggested the same thing, but he couldn't understand. Why should the victim be the one to leave while the bully stayed? He was exhausted and broken, but still chose to stay, hoping to one day see justice served. Neither of them realized their conversation was secretly being recorded by Chris's henchmen. A new storm was about to unfold. That night, Anna sat at home, filled with inner conflict. As an intern, she knew she had no authority to intervene where full-time teachers didn't dare. But deep down, she couldn't ignore her conscience. She resolved to help Jack, but only if it didn't risk her position. The next day, Anna approached Chris directly. She tried to reason with him, asking him to come to her with his problems and to stop bullying Jack. But before she could finish, Chris erupted with rage and raised his fist. Seeing no way to resolve things peacefully, Anna anonymously reported the incident to the Board of Education. Not long after, Anna's anonymous report sparked an uproar. Chris's mother, Coco, stormed into the school with a lawyer in tow. In front of everyone, she cited legal articles accusing the school of defamation and urged the whistleblower to come forward voluntarily, suggesting they might receive a lighter punishment. The school director bent over backward trying to appease her, and even the lawyer attempted to mediate, only to get slapped across the face case by Coco. She flat out refused to settle, declaring that unless the culprit was exposed, she wouldn't back down. Under mounting pressure, Anna finally dropped to her knees and admitted she was the one who filed the report. Coco publicly humiliated her and demanded she be fired on the spot. Anna, desperate and terrified, begged for mercy. It was an utterly degrading scene. Meanwhile, Chris stood just outside the office, smugly watching the spectacle unfold. With Jack beside him, he smirked as if silently saying, "See? No one's coming to save you." Everyone thought Anna would be expelled from the school, but to everyone's surprise, Chris personally requested the school to hold off on her dismissal. He wasn't done. He wanted to torment this nosy woman himself. That night, Anna sat alone in a convenience store, scratching her scalp until it bled, anxiety gnawing at her over the job she was about to lose. Just then, Chris and his gang surrounded her. They started mocking her, and Chris boldly declared that from now on, he would be her personal handler. When Anna tried to walk away, Chris grabbed her and pulled her into a fake embrace, whispering that as long as she played nice, she could keep her job. His lackeys laughed and snapped photos, and the smug look on his face pushed Anna to the edge. Before leaving, Chris warned her coldly, "Next time, it won't be so easy." Staggering out of the store, Anna wandered the streets in a daze. Lost in thought, she accidentally bumped into a man. She apologized immediately, but the man exploded, cursing and even slapping her across the face. In that moment, Anna saw herself in Jack, helpless and humiliated, and she finally understood. Cowardice only fuels cruelty. Her eyes turned icy, rage rising from deep within. The man kept taunting, unaware of the storm brewing in front of him, until Anna suddenly struck, knocking him to the ground with a Hapkido kick. That kick didn't just take him down, it woke something in her. Why should the wicked get to bully and laugh, while the righteous suffer in silence? That night, Anna put on a cat-faced mask and found Chris bullying another student on the basketball court. Without hesitation, she rushed in and kicked him across the floor. Her revenge had officially begun. Chris fought back, but he was no match. Anna landed hit after hit, even taunting him with hand gestures. The gang stood frozen. This was the first time they'd ever seen Chris get his ass handed to him. Chris tried to rip off her mask, but got slammed with a takedown. He made a brief comeback, but Anna knocked him down again. As they exchanged blows center court, it was clear Chris was outmatched. Then came the sound of sirens. Police were on the way. Everyone scattered. Anna pulled off her mask, stood in the middle of the empty court, and took a long, deep breath. For the first time in a long while, she felt free. What she didn't know was that student Steven had been secretly following her the entire time. The moment he realized the cat-faced vigilante was actually his teacher, he was filled with admiration. By the next day, the whole school was buzzing. The cat-faced mystery avenger who beat up Chris had become a campus legend. Even the teachers clapped in secret. Finally, someone had the guts to fight back. Anna kept a low profile, pretending to be just another spectator while gossiping with the crowd. But by now, the school was plastered with cat drawings and insults aimed at Chris. Even his desk wasn't spared. Humiliated and enraged, Chris took his gang for a reckless joyride, speeding so fast his lackeys were nearly scared to death. Fuming with rage, he suddenly snapped and took it out on his own crew. One of them, trying to calm him down, suggested they go have some fun with Jack. What followed was pure humiliation. They stripped Jack down to his underwear, put a plastic bag over his head, and wrote vulgar insults all over his back. Then, they forced him to run through the streets to buy fried chicken within 5 minutes, or they'd strip him completely. Jack sprinted down the street, drawing horrified stares from pedestrians. Even the chicken shop owner was in shock. Coincidentally, Steven was working in that very store. Seeing what was happening, he ran off to find Anna, urging her to put the mask back on and save Jack. Meanwhile, Jack was on the verge of a breakdown. All he could think about was making Chris pay. When he spotted a knife on the table, he didn't hesitate. He grabbed it and stormed off to settle the score. Back at the pool hall, Chris was still riding high from humiliating Jack, even planning to post the video online. Just as things were about to escalate, Anna arrived in the nick of time. The moment Chris spotted the cat-faced vigilante, he hurled a pool ball at her. Anna dodged it effortlessly, and the two launched into a fierce fight. Despite Anna's skills, she was outmatched and nearly cornered, but with a sudden burst of strength, she landed a series of lightning-fast kicks that pushed Chris back. Just then, Jack appeared, knife in hand, eyes full of rage. Anna sensed the danger. In a split-second decision, she kicked Chris away with all her might, shielding Jack from committing a tragedy. But in the chaos, her arm was slashed. Blood poured from the wound as Jack collapsed emotionally. Luckily, the fried chicken shop owner, who had secretly followed Anna, rushed in and intervened just in time. Only then did Anna allow herself to walk away. The next day, Chris, now furious, prowled the school with his lackeys, hunting for any student with an arm injury. When one girl tried to resist, he grabbed her by the hair and dragged her through the hall, shouting, "If that cat-faced freak doesn't show up, I'll beat one student a day to death." Though he hadn't found proof yet, things took a sudden turn. While dodging a student on a hoverboard, Anna instinctively protected her injured arm, and Chris saw it. His eyes lit up with suspicion. He grabbed her by the arm and dragged her into an empty classroom. Slamming her onto a desk, he whispered that he was going to make her life a living hell. Then he pulled a plastic bag over her head, preparing to welcome her properly. But just then, his eyes caught sight of a school festival poster. A wicked idea struck him. He decided to challenge Anna to a public boxing match, right in front of the entire school. If she refused to fight, he'd release the footage of Jack with the knife and hand it over to the cops. Anna still hoped to appeal to whatever was left of his conscience, but it was useless. The turning point came when she learned that Jack had applied for a transfer. Alarmed, she rushed to his house, only to find him standing on the edge of the rooftop. Anna's heart sank. She couldn't let a young life be destroyed by bullies, so she made a promise. "I'll make Chris pay, no matter what it takes." Those words rekindled the fire in Jack's heart. She told him, "Be there on the day of the festival. That's when justice will be served." The day of reckoning arrived. The campus was packed. Students wearing cat-face masks flooded the arena, cheering for Anna. To prepare for this fight, Chris had undergone brutal training. Meanwhile, Anna entered the ring still nursing her injury. The match began, and she was instantly on the back foot. Chris slammed her head, then kicked her into the fence. He rained punches down like a madman. Anna fought to regain ground, but Chris cunningly yanked off her hat to distract her, then struck again, hard. She hit the fence with such force that her hair came undone. Gasps echoed through the crowd. No one had expected the cat-face fighter to be a woman. The revelation only fueled Chris's rage. He pinned her to the ground, trying to rip off her mask. Anna struggled free, but before she could regain her footing, he kicked her down again and began stomping on her stomach. He completely lost it. At her weakest moment, Anna remembered the promise she made to Jack, and that memory gave her strength. She exploded with energy, launched herself at Chris, leaped from the ropes, and delivered two stunning mid-air kicks that rocked him to his core. The crowd went wild. This wasn't just a fight anymore. It was a reckoning. Anna had no more fears. She no longer cared about her job or Chris's powerful family. Today was about justice. She ripped off her mask and stood tall. The arena fell into stunned silence, then erupted in applause. Even some of Chris's own lackeys switched sides and started cheering for Anna. Chris, dazed and bloodied, tried to fight back, but Anna was unstoppable. Every blow she landed was payback for what Jack had endured. Just as she was about to finish it, the school director burst in and ordered her to stop. "If you keep this up, you're fired," he warned. But before his words were even out, Chris cursed him to his face. The director turned red with rage and tried to intervene, only to get knocked out by Anna in 3 seconds flat. One combo punch, one spinning kick, one final stomp. Boom, down. Then Anna turned to Jack. With one final leap, she launched Chris into the air and sent him crashing to the ground, right at Jack's feet. She leaned in close and whispered, "Apologize." But even now, Chris refused to speak. Jack looked down and calmly said, "Your apology doesn't matter anymore. You've already lost in front of everyone." And with that, the two of them walked off. Chris, humiliated, tried to sneak attack from behind, but Anna was ready. One final golden crane kick put him flat on the ground, this time for good. Later, Anna and Jack went to the police station to file a report. To everyone's surprise, one of Chris's former lackeys came forward too, handing over a phone full of recorded evidence showing how Chris had bullied Jack. Her quiet recordings ignited a firestorm online. Chris was finally brought to justice. After the dust settled, Anna resigned from her post and went to interview at a new school. The moment she stepped inside, she was nearly run over by a fiery rich girl on campus. What the girl didn't know was that the calm, elegant woman in front of her once made every bully on campus tremble with fear. Thus began a brand new chapter in Anna's life. Bullying is never just kids being kids. It's a silent violence that leaves invisible scars. The movie Brave Citizen shows us in the rawest way possible. Silence only feeds cruelty. Sometimes, the only way to end it is to stand up and fight. Have you ever witnessed injustice at school? Drop your story in the comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.